Natalie, let's do this. I'm excited to talk.
Okay. So what inspired you to start this organization?
Oh, great question. So I am part of several educator groups. I have been interested in global education, global citizenship, particularly student activism, working with great change makers like you from around the world from an early age. So honestly, when I was 8 years old, I got really interested in connecting with people around the world and social good causes. Moved me into education. I was in a Montessori World School. Montessori World Schools really incorporating the peace curriculum, geography, cultural studies. So I was in K-12 education for 20 years, and then in 2014 moved out of K-12 to higher ed, so working with university students. And at that same time, the UN released their Sustainable Development Goals, which I know you know a lot about and have been working with. And so those goals became almost this roadmap for me, for teachers that I knew, and for students who were on this mission to develop as global citizens and really change the future. So Teach SDGs is a movement of teachers around the world that are working to bring the goals into classrooms and support students to help them follow their passions and take action for the world. And then my nonprofit organization with my business partner, Koen Timmers, he's in Belgium. We started really from our friendship out of Teach SDGs. So he's in Belgium, I'm in Florida, and we both have this shared purpose to make a difference in the world through education. So we've been able to join together virtually for several projects. So we do global projects for classrooms. We have our programs in Africa. So we're supporting Jane Goodall's Roots and Shoots programs with global goals curricula. And then, as you know, I know you all have done a lot to support our work in the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. So that's kind of how we got to where we are at, and now we're just on this mission full force. So it's been wonderful to partner with teachers like Mr. Nober and students like you on everything moving forward.
Yeah, that's great. How has the COVID-19 pandemic affected you, if it has?
Yeah, so we're in crazy times, right? I mean, it's now. Are you working in 8th grade from home, or are you in school?
I am in school.
Okay, you're in school. Yeah, it's like every week. Oh yeah, you got your mask, and that's great. Things are changing, and so I think for us, we've really worked through this approach of being flexible for a lot of our work over the years, and having to adapt, being comfortable with change, oftentimes having to pivot. So kind of the unexpected isn't new for us. This pandemic, of course, is. So we've just had to respond in the best way we could. For instance, we had our Take Action project in the spring of this year. And so we had been planning for several months to lead this global project. We were so excited about it. We were going to bring together hundreds of classrooms from around the world on a 10-week journey, moving from levels of self. So students participating were going to first look at themselves, then look at their local community, then look at the planet, then out to the level of the universe, and then back to self. And so we had great partnerships with NASA and the UN and WWF. And so we got ready to kick off our project on March 1st, and pretty much 100% of our classrooms moved to distance learning. And so it was that moment of, what do we do? You know, do we put a pause on this project and say, maybe we'll start and do it next year, or do we move forward with it? And so we said, let's just move forward. Maybe we'll have a handful of classrooms. But for us, since we've always been working online, it actually went the other way. And so we had more teachers participating because they were using distance learning. So it worked out really well. I personally have been teaching online for 4 years at the university. So
Wow.
yeah, so this is what I've been doing for a while.
Is it hard for you to sometimes like teach online?
You know, it's a challenge, I would say, a challenge that I welcome. I really believe in the power of shared experience. So finding ways for people to work together and collaborate on projects. And that's not always easy to do online. So I really get excited about finding ways to use some of these new innovative technologies to have people connect. So it might not look the same as if we were sitting next to each other, but we can use video call rooms to have conversations. We can use sticky boards online instead of sticky notes to create idea boards. We can create websites for our presentations as opposed to writing a paper and printing it and turning it in. So I think it's just finding ways to really be creative. And so online teaching and online collaboration for me is just kind of fuels that creative process.
Wow. What donation is like the most beneficial to your schools?
Like a monetary donation?
Like on your website, which one is the most beneficial to you?
Right. So I think you're referring to last semester. I know Mr. Nober and your classes did a really awesome project with the shoes for SDGs, and then the money that was raised went to some of our projects. So we have a project around school uniforms for Kakuma. We had our Kakuma schools. We had a couple different things. So we have several projects that people can contribute money to. But I have to say, our best contribution is actually time. And so having teachers donate their time to supporting some of our work. Right now, we're doing the Climate Action Project. And so we have, this is a big number. This kind of continues to blow me away every time I say it. We have over 1 million students joining right now for the Climate Action Project, which is amazing. Yeah. And so for us, we have all of these students, and our curricula for the Climate Action Project, I wrote with Kuhn, and it's in English. And so we have classrooms that English might not be their first language. So we've had teachers from all around the world translate the lessons into different languages. So things like that, donating their time is huge, and it allows others to be a part of the work. And we always say we're always better together. So that collective action is quite powerful.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of the same question, but what donations are you in like the most need of?
I think what we're seeing right now is we're in our Climate Action Project. And so what we're doing is working with students and classrooms to examine climate action through a lens of solutioning. So we take them and they first have an understanding of what is climate change. So just establishing some foundational knowledge around what is climate versus weather, what are the causes, what are the effects, what are current solutions that are out there right now. So we believe in action. We believe in supporting students to take action and build their own ideas. So we're in week 4 right now. It's a 6-week project. And so our classrooms have done all that work. They now know the difference between weather and climate. They know the causes, they know the effects, and they're thinking of what solution do they want to create. Some are making inventions, some are creating advocacy campaigns, some are writing letters to their ministries of education or government officials. And so as we start to see them building out these amazing ideas, I think what we're seeing is we'd love to be able to offer them support to take those ideas and make them real. So that's something we're working on right now and figuring out how we can get money into the hands of our classrooms.
Okay. How do you get these so great ideas? Like what goes through your mind when you're thinking of these?
Mm-hmm. Well, right now we're in a time that there are ideas, I feel like, everywhere. There's so much changing in our world. And what I always say is opportunity is in front of you everywhere. So I think it's just really kind of being present, having your eyes open to those opportunities, and being ready to adjust when there are times of change. Traditional education, traditional work, even you go into your, like, if you have a project you're working on, okay, I'm going to set my plan. Here's my plan. Here's what success looks like for that plan. And here are the steps to get me there. A, B, C. But, real life is messy and things come up, and there might be a pandemic. There might be a hurricane, things might come. And how can, like for us with the Take Action project, all of a sudden something happened? It's do we just shut down, or do we use as an opportunity? And how can we really ideate and think of new ideas and involve others? So I think it's being open and looking for those new ideas that might be right in front of us. And then also looking to your collaborators, looking to those people in your world who are your trusted experts, who are your trusted friends, and saying, what can we do together? I'm not, like, for instance, I'm not great at computer programming. But my business partner, Koen Timmers, is amazing. And I'll have an idea, like next week for our project, we are going to have our classrooms present their ideas to student mentors. And we couldn't find an app that would help us to schedule those connections. So how can classes go in, pick their language, pick their time, and pick the person they want to work with? Nothing would allow us to do that. So I sent a message to Koen and I was like, hey, I have this crazy idea. Do you think we could do that on our website? And he was like, sure, no problem. I just have to code it and figure out how to do it. And so, like, 2 days later, he built it. I would never have been able to do it, but I had an idea, I had a problem, and I went to the right person who could help me.
That's great. As you said, like, you need a lot of time, like the most beneficial is time. Have you gotten like a lot more participants since COVID-19 because everything's online and a lot of people maybe don't want to fly out?
Yeah, great question. So it's been interesting because I think a couple things are happening with us right now. So our work is all around social good. So we're really interested and curious about how can we take action for the environment? How can we take action for social inclusion? How can we use innovative technologies to do this? And how can we connect people from all around the world? So you take all of that and you put it in a moment like we're in right now, where we know everyone is going to have to do their part for the planet in terms of climate action. Everyone is going to have to recognize that one person on our planet can make a difference for everyone, as we've seen with coronavirus. And we're going to have to find ways to use technology to connect. So I think that we have seen an increase in participation for all of those reasons. But I think also, too, because students are leading the way. Education is different today. We have students now that are saying, I'm moving forward on my work around social good with or without you. I am passionate about this cause, and they're figuring it out. So they're out and creating their own campaigns and creating websites and on social media. So I think for us as teachers, we've got to keep up.
Mm-hmm. Are you still in contact with your graduates?
From my university program?
Yeah.
So I have graduates from different levels. So I was in K-12. So I worked with students as young as age 1 all the way up through high school level. And then now, as I mentioned, I work at the university and I teach online. So I do keep in contact with them. It's great for me being a professor in the College of Education, because as I'm a teacher, my students are future teachers. So they go out into classrooms and they start working. And so we're able to keep in contact. In fact, one of my students was the inspiration for our Global Goals project. Her idea inspired it all. So now we have thousands of teachers all around the world participating in that work. So I absolutely try to keep in contact. And then, so those are my own personal students. And then the students that are doing the work with the classrooms that I keep in contact with too. And some of them, for instance, I have one of my colleagues and friends, I would say now, Ayush Chopra. He's a senior in Canada, and he's doing a lot of great work around the SDGs. So it's been fun.
I bet it is. How does one get started about spreading the word about what you're doing?
So thank you for that. I am online, and so I'd love to hear anyone that's looking to get involved with our work around Take Action Global. So any of our projects that people want to be involved with, or if they're interested in finding out more about our school programs, they can visit us online on our website with takeactionglobal.org, or on social media, which is Take Action EDU. And then my personal Instagram is Jen, Jen Williams EDU, and I'd love to connect there.
That's great. I'm trying to think of other questions I can ask you.
Well, I'd love to know, Natalie, just a little bit too more about you and your work with the SDGs and social good. What got you interested in having this conversation today?
I was, researching about what I can do, and I looked up how many people, I've never heard anyone talk about lack of education and people who don't have education. So I'm just like, oh, well, this seems like a fun subject to talk about. So I started looking into that. And then when Mr. Nober said, we can set up an interview for you, I'm just like, should I? And then I thought about it more and more. And my one thought was, if I do this interview, I can get more information instead of just looking it up, and get information about someone who's actually doing something. So that's kind of how I got this idea to interview you.
Oh, I'm so glad you did. Sometimes I have to think about this chart in my mind sometimes too, but I'll talk to teachers and students. Have you ever heard this concept of your comfort zone? So there's this picture, I'll send it to you, Natalie, but so they have 3 circles, and the inside circle, that's your comfort zone. That's where you're comfortable. You're not taking a lot of risks, and it's easy. Right beyond that is the learning zone. And that's where you're taking risks and you're kind of stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit, but you're learning. Beyond that is the danger zone. And that's where okay, you've probably been in those situations before. You're like, this is not something I'm comfortable with. So you don't want to get into the danger zone, but just like you, I'm trying to push myself past that comfort zone every day into that learning zone, which is pretty exciting place to be. So I'm so excited that you asked me to be a part of this interview.
Mm-hmm. I have heard of the that 3 circles before. My dad's actually mentioned it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for inviting me. What a special moment.
It was fun to talk to you.
So fun. Yeah.
Thank you for giving us your time. Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for all that you do. This is definitely a team. We all have a lot to do, work ahead of us.
Yes.
The difference in this time we're in. So awesome. Okay.
All right. Well, it was great to see you again.
You too. Natalie, keep me posted if you need anything.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you both soon.
Bye.
See you later.